I know my family gives away millions of dollars each year to charity, but how does that exactly level the playing field? I mean, what did I do to earn the kind of money I'll own at midnight tonight? All I did was inherit it.
True Empire TV, what's up, what's up? So what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I'm playing this documentary. It's called Born Rich by Jamie Johnson, family of Johnson and Johnson. Now, Jamie came out with a documentary called Born Rich where he basically interviews all his rich friends. I'm talking about Ivana Trump. I'm talking about people you don't even know of. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of rich kids. And I'm sitting here. I'm gonna be talking with Deja. Me and Deja gonna go back and forth about Born Rich. And if you never watched that documentary, I advise you to check it out. Because what I like about it, he goes from talking about all the rich people, and then he takes a stroll into the neighborhoods of people that's, lesser fortunate, don't have a lot of money, and he goes into these neighborhoods so he can get a clear understanding on why these people are not rich also. And when I say these people, I'm talking about the hood. He goes to the ghetto. He goes into Chicago, 1600 block. If you're from Chicago, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to get the street. Well, if you want to watch the documentary, go watch it and you'll see the street where he's talking about. A lot of those streets, they already tore down the buildings and turned them into condos, turned the apartments into condos, where even one of the guys that was on here bought one of those apartments and turned it into a condo. And it's just sad because it's like a thing where I can't say sad, because at the end of the day, it's something you can learn from. Rich and poor. You get what I mean? So I'm playing a few clips, I'm talking about it, and then like I said, me and Deja, we're gonna go back and forth a little bit talking about it. So right now I'm gonna play a clip of one of the kids that's talking about how his parents, owned a lot of these magazines company, and how they owned the magazine company. Always listen to the game. Get the game. You know what I mean? So I'm playing this so you can find the game out of it, so you can get some food out of it. Not to hate on it, because we're not here to hate. We're here to get some food. So listen to this kid talk about how, even though he was rich, but he still had to earn. Check it out.
It would be a low estimate, a very low estimate for me to say 20 billion. But I can't get too exact with it. But in attainable assets, that's the range our family's in. My grandfather goes by Psy. His father went by SI. I'm my father's oldest son, so I'm SI number 4. And my great grandfather had bought a group of magazines under a label called Condé Nast. I don't remember what was in it originally, so I'm just going to name them all. Is that okay? I don't have enough fingers. Vogue, Allure, Vanity Fair, GQ, Self, Glamour, House and Garden, Condé Nast Traveler, Architectural Digest, Bon Appetit, Gourmet, Wired, New Yorker, and I'm sure there's a couple I missed, which in any other family you'd think would lay a lot of pressure on my shoulders. They say, you're the oldest, you're the namesake. But it doesn't work that way in my family. You got to earn your way. If you don't go to school, at least somewhat, and if you don't work for the family and put in your time, you don't get shit.
That's what he said. So you don't get nada. You don't get shit. But let me ask you another question. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, we always hear stories how somebody was wealthy, was rich, and they still committed suicide or they was in depression. So that goes to show you too, having money doesn't really make you happy. You get what I mean? But listen to this though. Knowing what you're doing with money changes everything that you do in your life and the direction that you're going with your family. But how you achieve it, it's another thing. You get what I mean? So this is what all this is about, because even these rich kids, they even putting their parents in blast. But I like this clip right here I'm about to play, when Jamie Johnson is sitting in a car with a taxi, a black guy. He's in a cab. I think they was in Miami. They was in Little Haiti somewhere in Florida. And the black guy is basically, he tells the black guy who he is. Remember, this is very dangerous what he's doing. But he tells the black cab driver who he truly is. He said, "Hey, I'm Jamie. I'm Johnson and Johnson. I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm basically, that's my family." So the black guy goes on and tell him, "Oh, okay, big money. Okay, you come from that. You come from the crooks, from the crooks." And he breaking it down, like he's talking about back in the days how, his Jamie's grandfather was getting it off the boats, the real ships. That's where Johnson and Johnson come from. So as he's breaking it down, he tells him, he looks at Jamie and he goes, "Hey, you'll think I'm an idiot if I tell you my family's rich too, but not rich with money." And he goes on and tell him this. So listen to this clip right here.
My great-grandfather started the Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceutical Company.
Okay, Johnson & Johnson. Big money.
Yeah.
Old money. Old crooked money. And that money that come out of them moonshiners and all. Look at it.
There's some truth to that, man.
I know it's true. The same way to get it to forward. Man, see, the truth don't hurt. I can tell you something, and you might think I'm an idiot. My family was one of the richest families in the world, but not with money. With love, kindness, tolerance, and patience. Qualities that's worth more than money, and you can't buy that. They taught me how to love people for who they are, not what I want them to be. They taught me how to get along with people. They taught me to treat people the way I want to be treated. They taught me to treat each person for who they are, not clump them together, because we all different in our own way. That's the richness that I was brought up with.
So yeah, you just heard the clip. You just heard the clip with Jamie Johnson talking to the taxi driver about how, how it's, he wanted to know basically how it is, like, being poor. So as you just heard, the black guy just said, his family taught him how to be kind, how to be loving, how to respect one another, how to help each other. And that's how he feels like he's rich. So what you think of that clip when you heard it? Talk to him.
I think that clip is very impactful because it shows just the parallels and the possibilities of a person's life. And so Jamie Johnson is already coming from wealth, being a billionaire, and he understands the concept of family, but he really wants a deeper insight as to what that means and how his family attained the wealth to have billionaire status, versus the taxi driver coming from humble beginnings and already knowing. Y'all heard it in the beginning. He's literally laughing. He's like, that crooked money. That crooked money, that real money. So it just, goes to show how we're all same because we're human. But the only difference is in socioeconomic, meaning the funds, and privilege.
So, but I like the fact that, the two spoke. It was like two worlds coming together, you know what I mean? At the same time, because at the end of the day, the kid didn't have to sit in a beat up taxi car, making a bunch of noise. You hear the door. So I respect that he was humble enough to create a documentary and basically just try to understand, like, his family's wealth You know what I mean? And then not just his family, just wealth in general, people that's rich, and he's trying to understand.
I always take the subway, but my mom had never really been on the subway. I took her on the other day, and she was like, "Whoa, this is cool. Other people should do this." I was like, "You should come during rush hour, you know?" It's kind of ironic, because the Whitney family made their money off of subways. Yeah, they sort of privatized the subway and held a monopoly on it, charged the city all this money. It was a complete racket. They were crooks. But everybody was a crook back then who made money. The Johnsons, right? They probably were like making opium or something.
Privilege at its finest. Did y'all hear what he said? He took his mother on the subway. She responds, "Wow, everyone should do this." It's like, ma'am, your husband created, implemented a function for the whole city and you've never taken part? Privilege.
Never taken part.
Never taken part.
And they charged the city a bunch of money to basically for the city to put the trains there. You know what I'm saying?
And you know they're getting a good percentage.
Oh, they getting money.
Come on.
And they never rode the train before.
Ever.
The Whitneys. So if you don't know, y'all gotta do research. You know, and that's why I said this is not a bad thing, because, you know, this is a good lesson. Like, it teaches you, like, man, things that you take for granted that you don't look at like that. And you like, you know, these people are walking around, they own it. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna listen to some more clip, but you heard that. What you think? You got any more last words before we let it go?
No
to
more.
The next clip?
No more last words. Let's hit it.
I remember just like being like, no, you know, I'm not rich. I don't have any money. You know, really telling people that. Making an effort to identify with like maids working in our house or like babysitters or, you know, whoever. And trying to convince them like as though there was any, like they were living in our house for Christ's sakes, you know?
My dad brought us up, always telling us we were poor. We never were given too many presents. And I didn't know anything about the Vanderbilts or the Whitneys. I didn't know anything about it. And I remember when I was a little kid, my mom let me spend the day with my uncle. And he took me to Grand Central Station and he said, "This is yours." I mean, it's just the worst thing. He took, and he'd just take me all around New York and be like, "Yes, we own this." And it was the dumbest thing in the world to do to a kid.
So you just heard it. Like, this was a kid who was going around New York. His grandfather took him around New York, you know? And that's the thing. Like, he was born rich. What can he do about it? Nothing. And he said it. He said, yo, his grandfather took him to the Grand Central Station. That's like you know what that's like? That's so big. Like how you imagine that. Your grandfather, you a kid, just chilling, takes you in the borough of Brooklyn. Like, I'm from Brooklyn, so if I'm in Brooklyn and my grandfather took me, you know, into this project building, you know, with all these people, and he's like, yo, this is yours. Not the apartment, the whole building. Like, the whole building is yours. Like, you know, if it holds 20, the building holds 40 people, that 40 people, you own 40 units, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of big. And we ain't talking about no building. We talking about Grand Central Station. That's like, man, that's so monumental. Like, he could die and his kids will own it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, can you be mad about that? Like, I can't. It's like, yo, I'm just listening to his story. And he even said, like, he felt dumb about that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he thought his friends have one too, like people he went to school with, but they didn't. Like, he would he'll go to buildings with his name on it, and he'd be like, "Don't you have a building too?" That's big. That's just some rich stuff, man. But we gonna go to the next clip, or what you think?
Let's go.
We gonna go to the next one. We gonna go to one more clip, and then we're going to close out because I want to know what y'all think out there. I want to hear your comments, what you think about, you know, is it, you know, would you love to just be born rich? Like, you know, but still, would you want it like where your parents still implement some rules in it? Or for some rules in it where, you know what I mean? Where you still have to feel a little bit of the struggle, but you still have 50 million in the account. Like, yo, like real talk, Jamie Johnson is a billionaire, but still in all, he went out, you know, and started a film crew, started doing filming, started his documentary. Born Rich is one of his documentary, and he has another one called 1%. So definitely go check those two out. And, you know, and I like how he tried to bring the two worlds in the best way he can, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So we're going to play this one more clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
I didn't always know I was rich. I know it sounds a little strange to say that, but growing up in the country, I just thought that everybody had carriages and horses and stuff like that. My parents never sat me down and said, "You're rich." In fact, my dad never talked about his inherited wealth at all. That's why it was so weird when I did find out. I was 10 years old. It was in 4th grade. During a free reading period in the library, a kid in my class found my dad's name in a copy of Forbes magazine with a list of the 400 richest people in America. The kid read the article aloud to the whole class, and everyone, including my teacher, ran over to check it all out for themselves. It was strange, all my friends and me finding out at the same time how rich my family was. I felt like I was learning a secret that I wasn't supposed to know. A secret my dad had been keeping from me. And now, the fact that I'm making a film about it has him really nervous.
Sometimes prying into people's lives with a camera and revealing things that are sensational creates ill will and
Yeah, but I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I want to have a happier life and how I actually feel about myself more in a psychological, introspective way. And I don't want to be nervous about money or be nervous about who I am. And I feel like you're feeling nervous about this film is maybe that nervousness of who you are.
and you're in control of this film and I'm not. So there's a little source of nervousness.
What do you think about my theory that you have that nervousness and that anxiety that I'm trying to avoid and maybe understand and overcome?
Perhaps I do. And maybe you will overcome it. Maybe you can walk into school, into a group of people, feel perfectly at home and comfortable and that you belong, or have as much right to be there as anybody else.
You think you made a mistake and you don't want me to make the same mistakes you did?
Maybe.